positive attitudes lead to positive lives. If you're going through something small that you think you got, but as long as you're positive, it's gonna make a difference in your life.
For many people in the world, there is a moment of clarity when you see the world differently than you saw it previously. Those are the moments when we wake up to life. I'm Rabbi Josh Bennett, and this is Waking Up to Life, a podcast about those moments. Today on the show, it is my honor to welcome Max McColl. It is a story that is really amazing, an amazing story of survival. Max, it's such a great thing to have you on the show.
It's amazing to be here. Thank you, Rabbi Josh. I really appreciate the opportunity.
So, Max, you had an event in your life. There was an accident in the city of Detroit. Talk to us a little bit about both what happened in the accident, although we know that you don't remember what happened. Tell us what happened, and then talk about a moment in the hospital that changed the way you see the world forever.
Well, it all started off when I bought a dirt bike. Mom was not happy about that, but it brought me a lot of enjoyment. One day I was on the dirt bike going up to the corner store to get me some of my favorite Reese's, and I was going through a red light on the street in Detroit, which I probably shouldn't have been doing, but again, I needed some Reese's, and the next thing I know, I woke up in the Rehabilitation Institute of Michigan after being hit by a car that ran a red light, and that's really kind of all I remember. I woke up and both my parents were there, and that's kind of the gist of it. And it went from Detroit Receiving Hospital for 3 months into the Rehabilitation Institute for 3 months. And then after those 3 months, I went into a Special Street Neurocare Center out in Romulus. And all that was about a year and 6 months, I believe, of just working nonstop with therapy 5 days a week and just doing the best I could to be able to bring myself back to life, walking, talking, eating, moving my body parts, arms, legs, and it's just a long journey that I'm still dealing with and completing now.
So it's amazing to hear you talk about that, because for those of us who were with you and your family through that journey, we feel like those first 3 months were an eternity. And there are moments that I remember coming to visit you in the hospital. I thought you were awake and aware, and of course you were, but you don't really remember those moments with clarity. But you say that that time when you finally woke up in the Rehabilitation Institute of Michigan, called RIM, your parents were there, and it was maybe the first time that you really had full cognitive recognition of what was going on. Why was that such an important moment for you?
Because I knew I still had people around me that loved me and that truly cared about me. Even though I didn't have any ability to talk, any ability to move my body, but I was able to see. And I saw the two people there that loved me the most and that were able to be there for me and take care of me and bring me some sort of peace, even though there was all sorts of BS going on, and the hospital teams, the phlebotomists, the surgeons, the therapists, the nurses, and all sorts of powerful people like that trying to help me. But it was just really nice to be able to see mom and dad and even my little brother there to be able to bring me peace and support and to show me how they were there for me every single day of this journey.
You know, it's so amazing to hear you talk about that, because how old were you when the accident happened?
23. It was on September 22nd, 2022.
So you're a 23-year-old young man living on your own in Detroit, and you've spent a lifetime with your parents doting on you, taking care of you, giving you rules, yelling at you every once in a
Just a
while.
little bit.
We all know the reality of what you were like when you were a little kid. But so you had examples of people who loved you and cared about you all of those years, but it wasn't until that moment when you literally woke up. I call this podcast Waking Up to Life. You literally woke up to life to see those same faces. Why do you think it was different then?
That's a good question, to be honest with you. And I can't really explain why it was different. All I knew was I was at some of the lowest I've ever been in the terms of moving, eating, talking. I wasn't able to do any of that. And to see the people that raised me, that brought me into this world, and just that were always there for me in the good or the bad, that were still there for me when this all happened, it just made me realize something very important. And just realize that they were still there by my side, even though I might have made a bad decision. They were there.
So I really normally would have something to answer or something to say, but I just want to put an exclamation point right there.
Absolutely.
And I want to change the subject a little bit. As you said, it's been a year and a half. You have gone through hell and back. You have been poked and prodded, and every doctor and every rehabilitation specialist has given you hard work. You
Over
have
30 different surgeries.
30 different surgeries. You have worked really, really hard to be sitting here, literally just of your own abilities to speak and to move. What is the most important lesson that you have learned from this experience?
Right off rip, I would say there's two of them. One is positive attitudes lead to positive lives. Just being positive and having the positivity will really, really, really bring you to where you need to be. And that's if you're going through something small that you think you got, but as long as you're positive, it's going to make a difference in your life. And that's something that my mom taught me growing up. And every day, she would positive attitudes lead to positive lives. And I never really understood that until I got in the accident and woke up from it. And she still said that to me. And I was like, you know what? You're not wrong. Not wrong at all.
Because coming back from something like this, there are moments where it's hard, literally physically hard for you. I remember watching you even before you moved to maybe it was at Rim, where just taking a single step, you were holding on to each side of the machine that was helping you learn to walk again. And you were cracking jokes, right? There was something really positive about you, even in a really difficult moment. And that propelled you forward because everybody around you wanted to help you because of that positive attitude.
Thank you. I mean, I don't know what to say to that, to be honest. I really appreciate that. And change the topic a little bit. One of the things I do remember and the part of the memory at RIM was you coming up to see me and me walking on the treadmill and you and my dad just talking and just talking about me and just being able to be there with me as I'm doing the best I can to show you that I'm capable of coming back and being able to move again.
Just so you know, I think we were making fun of you at that time.
Well,
We were laughing at your expense, I think.
well, as long as it involved me at some point, that was cool with me.
So you were talking about another lesson that you learned. One was happiness, positivity. What's the other takeaway?
Don't give up. Because if I were to give up, I don't think I'd be here today. And that's something that a lot of the surgeons and a lot of the doctors and a lot of the nurses told me is that they did not think that I would be here and did not think I would make it through this. But being resilient is something that a lot of people have told me too, is that I'm very resilient. And to be honest, I didn't know what that meant until I looked up the definition. And let me tell you, I am so damn resilient. And just not giving up was one thing that really was able to push me and push me and push me to where I am today. And that keeps pushing me to where I plan on being in 5 years, 10 years from now. And just confident.
This may be a difficult question to answer, but for somebody else who is in a position like this, challenging moment, maybe not even a health crisis, Where did you find the resilience? Is it just something that's in your soul, or was there something you said to yourself every morning to give yourself that sense of confidence and that willingness to come back?
I'd say it's just waking up and being as positive as I could be and just having the feeling that I would be able to succeed and be able to get myself back on my feet and get myself able to eat and walk and talk again with the help of full medical teams and RIM and receiving and specialty. But even with those medical teams, we all work together. And just to know that even if I was waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, that I would wake up to the nurses, the therapists, the doctors coming in to help me and to see me and to push me to do one more step that day than I did the day before, or get me on the treadmill for 2 extra minutes than I did the day before, or just different workouts to keep pushing me to do a little bit better. And as a team, we got me where I am today, and being able to walk, talk, and eat is just it's an entire blessing, and I wouldn't be able to do it without the people that were there to help me.
It is so wonderful to hear you talk. You've actually shared, you said two ideas for us to hear today. One is this idea of positivity. The second is the resilience and the confidence that you found along the journey. And although you haven't said it explicitly, there's also a deep sense of gratitude to family, friends, medical professionals who guided you to this point. And I think that all of those blend together into a Jewish value that we don't talk a lot about in, especially in liberal Judaism, and that is miracles. You know, our stories are filled in the Bible with miracles of our ancestors, but we don't think about miracles happening in the modern world. Do you equate this story to the same magnitude as a biblical miracle, like the splitting of the Red Sea?
That's something hard to think about, to be honest. A lot of people, a lot of good friends, a lot of family members, a lot of my parents' friends even always will tell me and my parents at separate times that Max is a big miracle, that he's gone through things that no one even think would be possible. And for me personally, I don't want to sound rude, but it's just something else that I push through every day to get better at.
But maybe that's the answer. Maybe a modern day miracle is not something that just happens to us, but something we create ourselves. And if we look at the hard work that it took somebody to become a nurse or a doctor along the way, that is the miracle that they persevered through their studies to become a helper. And in your case, it's not the recovery that's the miracle, it is the process, it is the determination, the gratitude, and the blessing that comes together to be Max's miracle. And I like that because it means that every one of our listeners can look at their own lives today and say, I can, in fact, make miracles happen in this modern world. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I would agree with that for sure. Just by like thinking about it, like when I was at RIM, there were two therapists. Forgive me for not knowing their exact title of their jobs, but there were two of them that really just pushed me every single day to be the best version of myself I could be physically, and damn sure helped out.
And that's miraculous.
Absolutely. And every time I'll be in Detroit, I'll go make sure I see them to go visit them, if even if it's for 2 minutes. Hey, great to see you guys. Look what I'm doing today. And I remember there's one day that I went to go see them and I was not in the wheelchair for the first time. And I brought tears to both their eyes, just them being so happy for me. And I was like, no, this is your guys. This is what you guys did for me. So thank you guys for being able to work as hard as you did and being able to show me what you guys did to be able to get me out of this.
So I want to change the subject here a little bit. We've been talking about you. And in this particular story, unfortunately, there is somebody else in the story. It's the perpetrator of this moment. I don't want to talk a lot of details about it. We don't need to go into the legal side of this, but at this moment, the trial is ended and another person has been convicted for this accident. Is there a message that you have about you being a victim and there being somebody out there that made this happen? Is there something you've learned that you can share with us when you are the victim of something tragic? Is there something that you want to tell people about the person who did it and maybe how you move forward?
This may or may not be related, but I was talking to my one of my good friends the other day, and what I said was, even though this guy is dealing with what he caused, he's not going to be dealing with it for all of his life. Given he's going to have some stuff to deal with, but there's going to be a time where he's back on his feet, and I would like to have a conversation with him, man to man, and I would like to see what his thought process was and kind of what went through his brain and kind of what he was thinking after he did what he did. And even if it was an accident, everyone has to deal with what they've caused throughout life and what they've done, good or bad. And I would like to know what he thought, because I know it, God forbid, if I ever caused something like this would be on my mind 24/7 and living every single day with the thought of I almost killed someone. I would like to know what he continued to think as he dealt with his consequences.
And it doesn't, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it doesn't sound like you're not willing to give forgiveness here.
No, and I've been working every day to be able to forgive him, but I will never forget. I will definitely forgive him at some point, but being able to forget it, I will never be able to forget it.
Max, what you've shared with the listeners here today is incredible. Through hard work, perseverance, dedication, and a little bit of what in Judaism we call rahmanis, or compassion towards another human being, you can really shift the world experiences that come your way into positive moments of blessing. I want to thank you for that message because it's so important for people to hear. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on your show. As blessing to me, and I really appreciate it very much.
So there is one last question. It's
Yeah.
a question that I ask everybody at the end of my podcast. And I know we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but I ask everybody, is there a television show, a podcast, a book that you have recently read, listened to, watched, even a movie that you think would be something other people should hear or listen to?
I've read 3 books total in my life. And one of the books that I've read has been, I actually read it fully when I was in special trade at the Neurocare Center. And it was called Chicken Soup for the Soul, something traumatic brain injuries. And it educated me about probably about 50 other people's 1 to 4 page stories about their brain injuries and what they've went through, what caused them, stuff like that. And I think that book has really helped me personally go through having a TBI, traumatic brain injury. And I think it could be there to help anyone else who is curious about traumatic brain injuries or helping someone with a TBI and all sorts of stuff involving a TBI. So I would highly recommend reading that or listening to it if you like audiobooks.
Fantastic recommendation. The entire Chicken Soup for the Soul series are these
Amazing.
beautiful, beautiful stories that help, I think, the way we see the world. I do promise I won't go back and talk to your high school English teacher and tell them that you never read
No,
any
please
of the
don't,
books.
please don't.
Max, so good to have you here. So good to see you functioning and moving through these challenges to find blessing in your life. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of our podcast, and I just want to say to everybody, I hope that you have taken something away from today's conversation, recognizing that we are the creators of blessings in our world with a bit of confidence and with a bit of gratitude and resilience. So use all those tools in the next week or two And we'll see you next time when you join me for Waking Up to Life with Rabbi Josh. L'chaim.